Everyone says I'm late. Everyone says I'm not on time. According to the clock, I'm early. And it's cold. Baby, it's cold outside. Because you know what? Not only did the Giants lose, but it is winter. It is that time of year. You would hope that there would be something more to talk about than the Giants getting demolished again. I always feel like Forrest Gump. You know, when he goes, I went to the White House again. Giants got beat by Dallas again. At least we scored more points this time. I always told people on Sunday stream there was no place to go but up. Dropped 17 instead of 0. But I think we got outscored 1,468,000 to 17 over the last 2 games. Gave up 600 plus yards. It just makes you want to rock back and forth like this. Oh, yes. We are bad. Knock, knock. Who's there? Not good. That's the New York Giants. And I get deeply concerned that Brian Daboll has just turned off the switch. He just has, and I like Victor. Victor, you should get banned just for that, Victor. 7 more games of this. You should be banned just for that. You should be wonked just for that. But you're not wrong. You are not wrong whatsoever. And the pimp named Slicksbacks comes back and says, Ralph Facciano came out with an article today saying ownership is still confident in Daniel Jones. Of course they're going to say that. You still have 2 more years of this nut. Horse walks into a bar. Bartender looks at the horse and says, why the long face? Daniel Jones limps into a bar. Bartender looks at him and says, torn ACL? Sorry. It's garbage time. You know, and what really bugs me, besides dogs and hats, what really bugs me is the fact that we're just not getting any better. And I was going to rant. I was going to rave. I was going to do all those things, but it's just like we're just not getting any better. That's what's so distressing about this whole situation. Yes, we are in the middle of a rebuild. Anyone should know we are still in the middle of the rebuild. But when you are in the second year of the rebuild, you are supposed to show improvement. You may not show improvement vis-a-vis the record, but you should show improvement on the field. And we're not. We're seeing a massive regression. Don't forget to hit the like button. And that's what's killing me right now. We're seeing this regression. I mean, you don't know what to say. When we initially started this season, I said we weren't going to make the playoffs. Never gave a record prediction. Just said we're not going to make the playoffs because the fluke wasn't going to happen twice in a row. And, you're not going to get the bounces that you normally would get. And, all the decisions that Daboll made were golden. That wasn't going to happen. You knew this. But I didn't think it was going to be like this. I hate to say it. I miss Joe Judge. Because you knew Joe Judge was an asshole. You knew Joe Judge was an idiot. You knew Joe Judge was not a very good head coach. Except for the people running laps. You knew this. You could see this from the moment from his very first press conference. But this was the known. We don't know what the hell we have in Brian Daboll. We have no idea what we have in Brian Daboll. Is it the 7-2 coach of the year? Or is it the guy that finished the season 3-5-1? That finished the season 2-4-1? Or is it the guy that only has 2 wins this season? And for the morons that are on Twitter saying, "Look, see, what did I tell you about Daniel Jones?" We have just as many wins without Daniel Jones as we had with Daniel Jones. So I don't want to hear that logic. Because I can't take that logic because there's no logic in that. We got Big Chris in the chat saying, hey, Tim, what's up? Victor says, I already got that, Victor. Todd says, told you Tommy touchdowns would keep the TG streak alive. He did keep it alive. You got to give him that. He kept up something. You know what's funny about Tommy DeVito? It's from Jersey. From Jersey. Couldn't tell by his parents. You saw his parents in the stand. You're like, oh, dear Lord. Jersey in the house in Dallas. You had the Jersey Shore in his house. Pimp names look back with a big old super chat saying, Tommy DeVito has more TDs than Daniel Jones. So you know what we need to do? We need to give Tommy DeVito $400 million. Because we gave Daniel Jones 160 for 15 touchdowns. So 2 touchdowns in 2 games, his first start. Times that and extrapolate that over the first terms of the contract. Carry the 2 with the 7. He should get $18 bazillion. Oh, if loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right. What's up, Emmanuel? It's all good. Everything's going good here. Mike says, if you turn back the clock, night, Brandon Cooks, Giants are definitely on the right game. Maybe they did. Oh my God, what do we got here? If Jones is a starting quarterback next year, I'm not watching the games till he's not going to be starting quarterback next year because of the fact he's not going to come back until like November. I don't care what his rehab is, and even if the rehab is phenomenal, he's still not going to come back. What's up, Emmanuel? Fabian with old Daboll's got to go. Now, Daboll's not going to go anywhere yet, unless Daboll decides on his own to make this journey, to make the trek, to go someplace else, to boldly go nowhere no man has ever gone before, potentially Buffalo. So anyone got good news? I mean, just out of curiosity. just out of curiosity. Anyone got any good news? Anyone? Bueller. And then you have the likes of hold on, I itch myself. You gotta make sure. Then you have the likes of Darius Slayton. Mr. Professional. Mr. Never says anything. Getting into it with Sterling Shepard. And we've said this before. I've said this with Sterling Shepard. He just needs to drink a big tall glass, shut the fuck up. You don't play. You don't get on the field. You have no right to going up to Sterling Shepard for any reason besides the fact that maybe he parked in your spot to tell him about anything in this game. And then I love the people that didn't want to get on Dexter Lawrence because it was his birthday and he wasn't in front of his locker because he was on the phone call for his birthday. You are getting paid. You are a team leader. You stand in front of your locker and you answer the tough questions. I'm sorry. Just because you like a player doesn't mean you can excuse him for shirking his responsibilities as team captain after a really bad loss. Zach Attack says, if Mara forces DJ on Daboll and Shane, they will quit. Well, I think they should have quit. Oh, what do we got? The pimp names look back saying right here. RJ Barrett is good news. RJ Barrett is good news. I'm really liking the way RJ's playing. Like I said, one of the things I noticed about RJ Barrett so far this season is he's attacking the basket with both hands. Mr. Authentic said you are right about a lot. Mr. Authentic said you're right about what? Right about a lot about the team. When did this happen? I like when anyone says anything nice about me because we don't get that a lot. Big Blue Forever says, like the old school jacket. You want to know why? Because it's my Adidas. Don't get me started. I met this little girlie. Her hair was kind of curly. Went to her house to bust her out. We had to leave real early. This beat is my recital. I think it's very vital to rock a rhyme that's right on time. I'm sorry. Todd says, when a team is risking their best wide receiver late in the blowout to set a record, they have no respect for you. They have zero respect for us. Knock, knock. Who's there? Zoink. They were still throwing with Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush. I'm sorry. You're still trying to put up points with Cooper Rush? I see James Williams, my brother, in the chat. He never called. He doesn't call. He doesn't write. He will be in studio second week in December. James says, New York football is in the gutter. The Pigeons are dumping us. They're dumping pretty bad on us. Mike Lee says, what is Mike Lee? I just put that up again because RJ Barrett is good news. Mike Lee says the season is more than half over. That's good news. What's up, Juan? How you doing, my friend? Daboll will leave if Jones is his starting quarterback next year. Mr. Authentic, he says you're right. Mr. Authentic said you're right about a lot of the team. I'm right about everything. I don't know. I'd like to know when this was said. The good news is we're halfway through the season. Daboll is trash, says Danny. He better fire all the coaches. Big Mike, what's going on? I love the Giants, but not this team. Sick of the whiny players. Whole year has been a shit show. I'd like to debate that, because I think it's been a vomit show in the beginning of the year and then turned into a shit show. Fabian says, as many are saying, the media DJ is in his safe zone by having an ACL issue at this moment. He really is, because everything now is going to be, wait, look what happened. Daniel Jones is here. Look how terrible we are. We were just as bad with Daniel Jones. Because last time I checked, Danny DeVito threw more touchdowns against Dallas than Daniel Jones did. But I digress. And sometimes I wear a dress. Sorry. James says Sterling Shepard wasn't on the boat trip. What? Yeah, he was on the boat trip. Sterling was on the boat trip. Stanley says, I think the reason why Daboll has succeeded with the Giants his first year was because the team had no film on him. They got film on him. You know what the problem is with Daboll? Here's what really bugs me. Here's what irks me about Daboll. He had this aura, his persona about him. You know, he just had this it factor at one point in time that, you know, his press conferences were a little glib, little glee. You know, everything he said was kind of funny, little innuendos. And now he's just kind of coming off like an asshole. Like when the one reporter asked him about what was going on with Wink and how that seemed different, how Wink has basically said the sidelines seems different. And he was like, well, what are you talking about? There was nothing different. And then she was like, well, you know, when you got into it, Wink, I don't know what you're talking about. Wink? When did we get into it with Wink? You started talking to Wink at the end of the half. The conversation continued into the locker room. You came back out and you looked like you were still having a conversation with Wink, but nothing different happened. That would be referred to as gaslighting. I learned that term. I'm a cool kid. You can tell by my retro Adidas jacket. Mike says Rangers are great. Time to watch them. Yeah, you're right. The Giants peaked in training camp. Well, you know what? When they were up against the all shorts team, you're damn right they did. Let's see here. Juan said someone actually said you're right about something. I guess Juan. Stranger stuff has happened. You know, it's funny. I think the biggest compliment I always get, and I think it's great because, you know, there's a lot of times that people, I mean, you know, shockingly, don't know why, shockingly, but a lot of people do say nice things about me. But when actually someone says that, I always tell people I'm like Novocaine. You know, just give it some time and it's gonna work. Whatever I say, just give. I'm not gonna be right about everything, but give it time. And that's why people get so mad at me, because I don't change my opinions. I'm like, no, I'm not going to change my opinions. Just give it some time and it'll come to fruition. And the majority of times it does. And then one of the biggest compliments, I love when people that hate me, and I've gotten a lot of these emails lately, hate me, come back and say to me, you were right. You were right. I love the one guy wrote me a diatribe, and I actually sent him a nice long email back. Just telling me that everything I said about he listed everything I had said about Daniel Jones since the middle of the 2020 season. And he was like, you were right about all of it. And he's like, I'm sorry. And he's like, I said some nasty things to you. And he's like, I don't think you were ever going to return to my email. I was like, listen, if I didn't respond to people or call people back that said nasty things to me, I'd probably never talk to anyone ever again. Oh, we got the big old super chat from Michael coming and said, Daboll said the same thing after every loss. We gotta be better. Last year, it was great because he was saying we got to take it every game at a time. You know, it's one, and I love that about him last year. I love that about him. It was one game at a time. And every win was, you know what? This is the first opponent. We got to get to the second opponent and we got to go from there because it's just one game at a time. And that's the way we have to look at this. Now it's just like, you know, before with Judge, this is what scares me. With Judge, it was like, well, I got to go back and look at the film. Now Daboll is, Well, we got to be better, and it starts with me. Knock, knock. Who's there? No shit, Sherlock. Oh, I just like that there's good news. Let's see here. Let's see. Rangers were good. We got that one. Chris says signing Shepard is the perfect example of what Shane and Daboll have done wrong. Shepard should have been released, just taken up space. I said it before. There are guys on this team that are either playing or just on the roster or starting on the roster that shouldn't even be on NFL rosters. And the salary cap was better this year than it was last year. The only difference is you had to sign Daniel Jones. You signed Saquon Barkley. You also re-signed, now most of that's not kicking until next year, but you signed Dexter Lawrence. You signed, what you call it? Andrew Thomas. You also have the maturing contracts of Kayvon Thibodeau and Evan Neal. You also have the first round picks from this year. So as we progress, those contracts, especially the first rounders, are going to mature, which are going to eat into the cap space. And then when you bring in Waller, even at $10 million, I get a little concerned about the management of the salary cap by Joe Shane. And I've said this before. I'm getting a little befuddled by some of the moves that he's making, and one of them is Sterling Shepard. And one of them is the fact that we paid $4 million on $5 million for Paris Campbell. And Paris Campbell came out and said, there was no market for me. But for some reason, the Giants felt it was necessary to give him $5 million. What's up, Kevin? Kevin says, I think Mara straddled Daboll and DJ and knows DJ isn't the guy and he doesn't care anymore. He just wants out. I'm not saying he wants out. I mean, we're not going to fire. We are not firing. I shouldn't say that. I should rephrase it. At this moment in time, we are not firing Brian Daboll unless he pulls a Joe Shane and does something stupid. Oh, what do we got here? Run DMC, baby. You know, I love me some Run DMC. I mean, I love me some Run DMC. I mean, like, there's, I don't know how many. I could probably do their entire catalog. Danny says, so how long do we fix the team, old man? Because I can't take it anymore. I said this when Daniel Jones signed the contract. And somebody asked me, when are the Giants going to be good again? And this was the day they signed. This is the day he signed the contract. And I said, we will probably be competitive again in 2026. And people said I was crazy. Because I said this, if he monumentally fails with this contract, 2023 is a wash because he's injured. 2024 is going to be a wash because of the salary of his contract. You're still going to owe him you're still going to owe $20 million in 2025. So by the time you get your quarterback in 2024, you hope he matures enough that you are competitive in 2025, but you are really good again in 2026. And that's what I said. If this deal, and I said, I put the caveat, if this deal goes bad because of play and injury, and it went bad for both. Pimp named Slickback says, Bobby Johnson still on the hot seat. Haven't heard that name in a while. You know what the thing is? Brian Kafka. Mike Kafka should be on the hot seat. I don't get it. I don't get the play calling. You have a rookie free agent quarterback under center. And you're not matriculating the ball down the field like you should. Short passing game. They're going to bring the rush, a couple delayed handoffs to Barkley. Keep the defense honest. Don't take shots right away. Kind of do what Jason Garrett did in Seattle. Jason Garrett, that game in Seattle, he ran the ball down Seattle's throat that entire first half. And I even said he's going to take a shot in the second half. And what did he do right out of the gate in the second half? He takes a shot. They score the touchdown. That touchdown carried us into the game. Now, I'm not saying that would have worked at all at Dallas, but we could have been a little bit more competitive. And I think being competitive is what we need to do. We got the big old super chat from Juan coming in saying, same people that wanted to get rid of Daboll and Shane are the same people that want to give Jones a 6th year to prove himself. Jones panty boy logic. Someone posted on the Twitter sphere, and I laughed because I thought about this one. They reposted the people running laps. And it was then, and they wrote under the thing that these are the same people that want to keep Daniel Jones. And I just thought that was hilarious. I'm like, oh my God, you're right. These are probably the same people that wanted Daniel Jones, and they're out there running laps. Great balls of fire. Thank you, Mr. Super Chat one. Mike Lee says, the fans said it's time for the Giants to rebuild. I want to know, when did we finish the first rebuild? I got a question. I got a question, and I got to bring up my, we always have special guests in the show. So, Carl Banks, when are you going to go on WFAN and apologize? I don't think that's happening anytime soon. Kayvon disappeared during the entire Vegas game. He was a no-show until the concussion and going in the third quarter for the Dallas game. So he hasn't shown up in 2 weeks. You can't have one good game and then 3 bad games and then be like, oh, well, watch this. Hey, I'm going to do my best Carl Banks impression. Watch the film. Oh, I just make myself laugh. I'm still shocked someone said something nice about me. Mike James says, hit the like button. Hit the like button. Hit it while you can. We got Evan going in here going, what's up, Tim? What's going on? Everything's going back. Hey, Tim, I think Sterling Shepard is the curse that's holding us back because he was the remaining player that was on the boat trip. Big James says, we're like the sucker boyfriend who dates a cheating stripper, and we keep believing that's okay. This will be the last time. Oh my goodness. I guess that, I guess we could be that. Ox, what does Ox say? When you don't take care of your best players and you don't pay them, the other players on the team are not going to give their best. We did pay them. We literally did pay them. And you should have seen a progression. It's clueless at times how these players are not progressing. JMS looked terrible yesterday. JMS looked god awful yesterday. Trey Hawkins. I love Trey. Man, everyone's golden boy. Trey Hawkins he just needs to. We've said it before. Don't go away, man. Just go away. I mean, I'm not giving up on Trey. I'm not giving up on Trey, but he just needs to sit down. But he can't because everybody's hurt now. That's the other good part when you're on a bad team and everyone else, and then everyone gets hurt at the same time. We got what do we got here? King Cutthroat Dodge says Kayvon is the new almost sack. No, we can't do King of the almost sack. King of the almost sack has been retired. Well, just Cutthroat, just once for you.
King of the almost sack.
Just for you, my friend. No, we can't do that. We'll have to come up with a new K. We do have a Kayvon sound effect. Hold on. We have wait. We have a Kayvon. We have a Kayvon sound effect. Where'd it go? What is this? Oh, here we go. We have a Kayvon sound effect.
I gotta come up with something. The old line thinks I'm nothing if I only had a sack.
We have Mike, and we also have James Williams' birthday present sound effect for that one. James Williams says, "Hit the like button. Hit the damn." He says, "Hit the damn like button." We're matriculated all the way to the number 2 pick. Hell, we might matriculate to the number 1 pick. I play Madden every once in a while, and I jokingly was upstairs before I came downstairs, and I simmed the rest of the season from the Dallas loss, and we had 2 wins still, and the good news is we got the first pick overall, and the Cardinals got the second. Let's see here, bro. We deserve the first round pick. We do deserve it. What does G Graham says? Since when was a quarterback not the most important position on the team? Because last time I checked, you build around him and not your own line. I guess that Stroud guy was pretty okay. Like Joe Burrow's guy, and the duck, but hell, we don't do that. We get I'm not even gonna get into it. It makes my head hurt. 8 sacks against bums. You're 100% right. You're 100% right now. Kayvon said it works for DJ. Well, says Mike Lee. Davey says, what's up? What's the point watching the Giants game? They are losers. I don't know if they're losers. Blazin, what's up, Blazin? Matter of fact, the New York Giant football and the whole is painful to watch. Both the quarterback and our XFL worthy. I don't even know if they can make the XFL, to be perfectly honest. Hey, Stanley, what's going on, my friend? Hey, Tim, I don't think Joe Shane wanted to bring Daniel Jones back. It was Mara that put the pressure on Shane to resign Jones to a long-term deal. But it was the greatest long-term deal in the history of the world. Remember? I think it was Bad Dog that was making fun of people the other day. When someone said to Bad Dog, this is going to set the team back 5 years. And he was like, how's it going to set it back 5 years? So my smart ass, I pointed out everything that I just pointed out. And I said, you know what? You're right. It was only 4 years. It's going to set the team back because you could see this. And sometimes I don't know. That maybe I tell people all the time, because sometimes, when there's everyone around you is seeing something else that you are seeing, and you kind of think to yourself, maybe I'm the one that's crazy. Maybe everyone else is saying, maybe I'm the one that's a nut. But then I keep looking at stuff. And I keep seeing stuff, and I keep seeing his progression. I keep seeing the pocket presence. I keep seeing the pocket awareness. You go back to the last video he did his rookie season, Daniel Jones, and I said if he doesn't learn pocket awareness, pocket presence, and how to move with some type of fluidity around and up and in the pocket, maybe stepping up the ladder, he's going to get himself killed. And he never got better. He never learned. I always harken back to the Marcus Golden stack 3 years ago when he came directly at Daniel Jones, and Daniel Jones didn't even flinch. He didn't even see him, and he was in his face. I'm like, how is that humanly possible? It's like you walk outside into the middle of the street, you see a semi truck coming at you, and then you don't get out of the way. You ask, what is wrong with this person? They didn't get out of the way. How did you not see the truck? Oh, I'm telling you, Danny says the coaches have to go. No, the coach is going to still be here. Big question from Steven. Question for Big Blue. If May and Williams are off the board and we draft Marvis Harrison Jr., what do we do at quarterback? Pray. Oh, yes, we pray. Oh, yes, we pray. We got to pray just to make it today. You're going to have to pray because you need someone to get the ball out. And Danny Knucklehead's not coming back. And if he does come back, he's not going to come back to like December. It wouldn't make sense. And then honestly, if they're off the board, you got to look hard at other quarterbacks.
That's what she said.
Because this is a quarterback. You forget, you still have Penix. A lot of people like McCarthy. I like the kid. A lot of people now like Jaden Daniels out of LSU. And one of the things I like about these other quarterbacks and some of these quarterbacks is they're not one and done starters. They're not RIP Dwayne Haskins or a Kiwi Smith who had that one season. These are guys. Some of these guys have been in college 4 or 5 years. So these are guys that have experience in reference to people like Penix and Jaden Daniels and people like they have experience. So you can't take a wide receiver. You just can't. You can, but you just can't. What's up, Mr. Alvarez? Kayvon is the edge equivalent of Daniel Jones. The only good plays against bad opponents. You're right. You're 100% right. Blazin says Trey Hawkins needs a salmon shirt too. Oh my God. How about Prince? I like Prince. I like Purple Rain. Purple rain. First of all, we're going to talk about Prince. And you can talk about Purple Rain. You got to talk about Morris Day because Morris Day and the time. Prince is the man, but you got Morris Day and the time. with Jungle Love and Oak Tree. Oak Tree, I'm going to put you to the test. Oak Tree, when it comes to dances, Morris is the best. And then you got, then you go post that and you got Jerk Out. But you jerk out. Baby, don't get too comfortable because I really like to sleep alone. So you gotta have that mixed in too. Irish Rover just gave me $10 not to talk. we just got multitudes of faces. What do we say here? Irish Rover said, I sold my tickets to the Cowboys game and lost my ass. I could not see giving Jerry Jones any money to watch that with anyone else was going to be a giant disaster. All the love to you and James Williams. Oh, Rover, I was going to call you about that because we did the same thing. We did the exact same thing. Irish Rover, Irish Rover, happy Veterans Day, late. We always appreciate your support and your service. So, Mr. Rover. Let's see here. Breaking news is Fabian. Some media sources are saying that they are not moving on from Daniel Jones. They said it realized a systematic issue that needs to be fixed. And then everyone became Jet fans. Don't fret, guys. The DJ era will be soon. It's going to be over soon. Between the neck and between the knee, I don't care what the media says because you get all the misdirection before the draft. So if we're sitting there high, we're good. I'm searching high. I'm going searching low. I'm talking about baby. Don't forget my number. Who drafted a quarterback from Duke? Shaking my head. We did twice. we did it twice in for 2 first rounds. One was a supplemental draft, but it still counts as the first round. Jaden Daniels, everyone likes him. Everyone does. It's called the deer in the headlights. Yeah, I can see. Yeah, I mean, it's no. There's just no progression. And like I said, I'm getting more and more concerned about Daboll's state of mind. I think he needs to pet a puppy. That's what I think. Isn't that what you do in safe spaces? I think he needs a safe space. And then at one point in time during the press conference, he's like, okay, is that it? It's like, dude, you've been here for 5 minutes. No. You're the coach of the New York Giants. Here's the thing that worries me. This worries me. Bill Belichick, the red starter jacket of the 80s for the Giants, is having one of those terrible seasons. And it's like, would the Giants do something stupid and reach back into Giants law and get the Belichick? You can't. First of all, Belichick is going to, and the people that want to talk about that, first of all, the Belichick's going to want more control. He was going to want more control. So unless you are firing Shane and Daboll, you're not bringing in someone like Bill Belichick. He's kind of that Parcellian thing now. If you're going to let me, if I'm cooking, you got to at least let me buy the ingredients, even though his ingredients expired as soon as Tom Brady left. Let's see. Davey says, the Giants should play the 3 doors down loser. I like 3 doors down. That's another good group. Evan says, did you see the rumor today that the Giants could have Jones start again next season? I don't believe in any rumors about a quarterback in November. I don't see it. Pimp Name Slickback says, oh, what's going on? Bring back Joe Judge as a GM and Belichick stack. Why not? Why not? Listen, if you bring back Daniel, if you do not win another game this season, and here's the other thing that pisses me off about Belichick. It pisses me off. Well, I'm going to tell you a couple things that piss me off about Belichick too. Here's the things that piss me off about Shane and Daboll. Their entire thought process during training camp was, for some unknown godly reason, that both Tyrod Taylor and Daniel Jones were both going to survive the season, as they should have known that it was more likely that both of them were going to go down with injuries. Everyone can talk about everything you want about Daniel Jones. This last year was his first healthy season. We talk about Saquon Barkley always being injury prone, so we didn't want that's why we didn't want to give him the money. But this was his first healthy season. You paid him, and he went out and got a neck, and once out he hurts his neck, then he blows out his ACL. And if you bring back Daniel Jones next year, you're basically waving the flag now on the 2024 season because he's not coming back till like December. Maybe November the earliest because he hasn't even had surgery yet. If this goes into if we go into the draft, let's say we get a top 3 pick and we pass on a quarterback, and then our thought process is we're bringing Daniel Jones back, I quit. I will go and become an Eagle fan because then logic has taken a back seat to stupidity. Because you can only, all this shit you see right here, I will just sell. And I'll sell for like $1. Even the autographed Crunch Bunch picture. With Brian Kelly, Harry Carson, Bradley Van Pelt, and of course Lawrence Taylor. I would be done. You can see it now. All right, everyone, this is Eagle Fan Central. This is Tim. This is the Eagles on the site in the nest, bringing you everything. I'm also going to do my Merrill Reese. See, it's not that difficult. Take on the Celtics game tonight. I don't have a good take on the Celtics game tonight, to be honest. That's a 7:30 game. I think the Celtics are too strong. But that's just the Celtics. Michael says, what does Michael say? If Ryan Leaf and Jamarcus Russell will pan out, it's a crapshoot. You never know. Davey says, Tim, this year they can draft from Duke a third time. No, I'm not even going to read that one. Watch the Giants draft. Everyone's laughing about taking another quarterback from Duke. Michael says, are we rooting for the Patriots or the Giants next week, Tim? We really don't need a high pick. Of course, I will be at the game next week with the Michael. So we will be rooting for the Giants, Michael. We will be rooting for the Giants. We're gonna be on the field at certain points in time too. So, little surprise thing, Michael. We got invited to do a on field thing at the end of the game. So we're gonna stay just so you and your girlfriend understand. We're gonna stay a little later, and we got invited to it. I'll explain it to you later. Danny says Belichick is super pissed this year. Of course he's benched his quarterback on the 2-minute drive. Kevin says, what's going on, my man? Everything's going good. Todd Taylor says, can we at least ask him what he said to Zappa after the game? He said, I can't believe he threw that pass. What are you, Daniel Jones? Oh my God. The problem with this is Chris says we need to keep losing to secure a top 3 pick, but at the same time, we need to continue questioning Daboll and the company along with the locker room collapse. Here's my thing with Daboll, and this is my thing with the 3rd round pick. And it just cracks me up that everyone is like, well, if we don't get the 3rd round pick, we are so screwed. Does anyone remember, I don't know, there was a draft a couple of years back. It was when was this draft? It was 2004, I think it was. And the Giants had the 4th round pick, and they wanted to get this quarterback guy named Eli Manning, and they traded up to get him. So you can still trade. And I don't understand this with people. When everyone's like, well, if we're in the top 5, we're not getting a quarterback. You can trade. It's really cool. You call up another team
and you say, is this the Arizona Cardinals? This is Joe Shane. I'd like to offer you 2 1s and a 4 for the first overall pick. Okay, thank you.
You could do that. It's really cool. It's one of these. I know it's new. OG says Dallas Cowboys found Dax, Eagles found Hurts, excuse me. Let's see. Washington has Sam Howell. Giants found Daniel Jones. How bad is it how good Sam Howell looks? How is that how crazy is that? I talked about last year when we were I was on the field for the Washington game, and I was standing I would say a foot away from Sam Howell. And I remember, I think it was Lorenzo was there with me. And I was like, he's not that big. He's like, I don't think he's good. I'm like, he's not gonna be that good of a quarterback. He doesn't even look like he's like the full. He doesn't even look like he's like this big full size quarterback guy because he's a little over 6'1". Yeah, I was wrong about that one, wasn't I? Let's see here. Hirsch says Belichick actually would salivate at getting Caleb or Drake May. I do believe they would. Let's see. James says I would be a Bills fan. Even the hat. No. Well, yes. Okay. I will, Joe Rev, I will give you the hat. I will give you the hat if that happens. Pimp names like Backus. Howell's on the pace for, thank you for super chat. Howell's on the pace for 4,800 yards, 34 touchdowns this year. He's got 17 touchdowns this year with, 9 interceptions, about 2,700, a little over 2,700 yards, or almost 2,800 yards this year. Yeah, he's on pace to throw for over 4,000 yards and 34 touchdowns. Sam freaking Howell. Don't worry, Tim. All right, thanks, Douglas. Okay, well, Douglas says don't worry. Okay, so I don't even gonna read the rest because I see DJ after. Don't worry, Tim. DJ will pay out after 10 years. Trust me. Oh my God. Daniel Jones has been terrible since the second year, says Juan. You're not wrong. Let's see. Ask Me says, are you sure the Giants are an actual NFL team? I'm starting to doubt it a little bit. Let's see. Chris says, very true, Tim. Just hate giving up the picks. I hate giving up the picks too, but you know what? Look how well it turned out for Eli Manning. Davey says, be like Kevin Costner, give me 3 consecutive first-round picks and draft Bo Callahan, you pancake-eating mother boop. I've never seen that movie. I have literally never seen Draft Day, which is funny. I've seen like maybe 10-minute bits and pieces of it. And Dom and I, Dominic Palma, the elf from across the shelf. We always quote that movie, but we've only seen maybe 15 minutes of the entire movie. David says Eli's situation was different. He didn't want to play for the Chargers. His family pulled the same string, get trades. I don't want any team that will give away Williams or May to us. You're not going to, but the thing is, David, they're not going to give them away to us. You got to go out and take it. You got to take it. You got to go out there and say, this is what I want. This is what we need as a franchise. This is what we need as an organization. And at the end of the day, you have to make your own luck. You have to make your own miracles because no one's going to do it for you. You're right. No one's going to give it to you. You got to go out and Joe Shane is got. We've said it before.
Are you a big man? Huh? I'm talking to you. What? You wake up in the morning, you say, I put on my big boy pants. Look, I'm wearing a belt. I got big boy pants on.
Joe Shane's got to put his big boy pants on, go out there and get his quarterback because it sure ain't Daniel Jones. Oh, just one thing I need to say. We got 130 people in the room. We only have 41 likes. Let's get that up to 60. And also Mint Mobile right now. We got a new Mint Mobile video coming out, I think, on Wednesday. They're having a big plan, a big special. You buy 3 months of service. You get 3 months for free. Now, by my calculation, that's 147 months or 6. You want to try some great service? Go to trymintmobile.com/Big Blue. 3 months for free. You can get like unlimited talk and text and 20 gigs of data a month for like $20 a month. And so that's 60 over 3 months. And then they're just going to give you another 3 months for free. There, just try this. trymintmobile.com/Big Blue. Had to throw that out there. Let's see here. Alex, what's up, Alex Sports? If we draft another quarterback for Duke, I'm going to scream. If we draft another quarterback from Duke, I quit. Drake May is the guy. Just got to draft and finally get some. Like I said, if you draft Caleb Williams, don't have a problem. You take Drake May, don't have a problem. You draft JJ McCarthy, I might have a problem. You take Penix, don't have a problem. I'm starting to watch more and more film at the kid Daniels at LSU. There's more there to like. And yeah, he's kind of turning the corner right now, and there's more there to like. But I would still have to see where we were drafting before we did something like that. What's up, Mazzy? You said, what did you say? I don't know what you said. Who has more difficult quarterback issues, Shane or Daboll? Salam. I'm sorry. I'm the Jets head coach. Who has more difficult quarterback issues, the Jets or the Giants? It's the Giants. Because at least Zach Wilson was a former first-round pick. You got a kid that couldn't cut it at Syracuse that had to go to Illinois. Who was an undrafted free agent. I'm gonna go with Giants right now. What do we got behind the friends? Says, what do we say? Watching Daboll's body language from last year to this year tells me he thought he'd be able to build a team, but got sold a bill of goods and stuck with Daniel Jones. Behind the Fiends, you're 100% right. My wife is big on the body language thing. We've talked about this a million times before. And she always tells me that, she knows that certain coaches aren't going to be good coaches because they eat their emotions. And I have to admit, if you watch him, Brian Daboll's blowing up a little bit. Brian Daboll ain't pushing away the pasta. And you could see, you're right, you could see his body languages at the press conferences now, because he was more upright. If you watch his press conferences earlier last year, he was upright. He was, now he's kind of like this. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about. No. I didn't get into it with Wink. You're effing crazy. That's exactly what it was like. Pimp says, yeah, I like Penix, May, and Williams. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. Behind the Fiends. Appreciate that. Let's see here. OG says, Joe Shane needs a quarterback, CJ Stroud, but Mara said no, Shane. You know what's scary? I'm going to tell you what's scary right now. If we would have listened to the Macadoodoo, then we would have taken Patrick Mahomes. None of this is an issue. We don't have Daniel Jones. We don't have this problem. We have Josh Allen, the linebacker, out of I forget where he's at. Out of Kentucky. We got him, who we should have drafted. I actually have a Josh Allen Jacksonville jersey. And I've talked about it before because I got so pissed that we didn't take him that I literally went out and bought a number 41. He's got 9 sacks so far this year. He had 10.5 sacks, 2.5 sacks because he was hurt, 7.5 sacks, 7 sacks, and 9 sacks this year. He's got 36 sacks over the last 5 years. He's got 216 tackles with only 76 assists. I mean, he would have been the guy. He literally would have been the guy we would have had. You pair him up with someone like Kayvon Thibodeau, and then if you would have had Mahomes, you probably wouldn't have taken our old buddy Kadarius Toney, which then in turns mean we would have had Parsons as well. And it just makes you sick. Mike says, what do you say, Mike? I want Mayor Penix. Like I said, I'm not going to be upset with either one of them. Frank said, dude, I had 49-17. Did I win? Ha ha ha. No. I am fair, but in my fairness, I have to tell people no. It was funny. I had somebody email me today, and I think they were off by 2 points as well, or 3 points. And they're like, did I win? I'm like, no. OG says the Giants, because as Aaron Rodgers healthy, they can wait on drafting a quarterback to next year. Fabian says Bo Nix looks interesting. He looks interesting, but I don't want him. I just don't have this Bo Nix feel. I don't know. Let's see here. Orlando says John Mara has offered Daniel Jones his ACL during the bye week to get them on the field in time for the final stretch of the season. Frankie says, what Frankie said, Brian Daboll and Jay Shane have demand on an extension, or they would just leave, all because we know Mara insists on Jones and set the program back 2 years. They may resign. It's a possibility. Like I said, I don't think they're going anywhere. They're not going to get fired. They're not getting fired. But what may happen is they may leave. I don't think Shane would leave. I think Daboll would leave. I think if Daboll does not win a game for the rest of the season, I think he goes. I think he goes and finds another opportunity because he's then going to know it's going to be like 2026 before he's even going to be good again. They could have gotten the duck too, Tim. I know. The Giants I wanted the Giants to take Will Levis last year because he would be at least worse than Jones, but cheaper. If he had a bad, we could have been a good backup when Taylor leaves. I was never a Will Levis fan. Still not. There's just and the funny thing is about Will Levis, he reminds me a lot of Daniel Jones. Penix injuries scare me way too much already. Has had two torn ACLs. Oh, I agree. I'm like saying he's the perfect pick. But I'm saying if you look through all that, there is an opportunity to get a good player. And there have been guys in college who were a wreck in college in reference to injuries and never suffered an injury in the pros. Stanley says, Tim, what's your thoughts on Sanders? Do you think he's NFL ready? No. Deion's kid's not ready for the NFL. The collapse of the Colorado football program kind of shows you where that's at. And Deion's already said his kid's not going anywhere. He's like he's not going anywhere. He's going to stay another year. And Deion's going to try to rebuild again through the transfer portal. I think he's shown a good progression. I just don't think he's quite ready there yet. Behind the Fiends with a big old super chat saying, how are we a legacy franchise in the major market and this bad? Easy. It happens when ownership puts personal attachment over business. You're right. I love Eli Manning. And I've said this before, Phil Simms was my first quarterback. Phil Simms was my quarterback growing up as a kid. He was my quarterback. Eli Manning came into the earlier half of my life. And, it's funny, though, because in 2004, a lot of good things happened in 2003 and 2004 for me. And it kind of progressed all with Eli Manning. And, you watch the maturity of Eli Manning like I did with Phil Simms. So he was my guy, but Eli Manning stayed 3 years too long at the party for the Giants. And to your point, they got overly attached. And I remember the New Year's Eve game, second to last season, we played Washington. I have JPP's hat up there from that game. And we all thought that was going to be Eli Manning's last game as a Giant. We thought the Giants were going to get rid of him the next year. And I remember that game because it was like -2. And that's the game that New Orleans Darkwa ran for like 100-something yards. We beat Washington. And I remember standing because we stood on the field the entire game because we thought it was Eli Manning's last game. And then I was shocked and stunned about what happened following that game, that he was still there. He was still on the team. Because you could see why he was not the same quarterback that he was not a bad quarterback. He's just not the quarterback that he was because of the fact that Mara got too attached and could not relieve himself of that attachment and get away from that for the benefit of the franchise and not the detriment, which is why we didn't take Patrick Mahomes. And then at the end of the day, he's kind of doing the same thing with Daniel Jones. Let's see here. Scott says, this is a great channel. This is a great channel. Great work. Thank you, Scott. 2 compliments in one day. Great balls of fire. I can't handle it. But thank you, Scott. I appreciate that. Fabi says, if they go quarterback, they're going with one later in the first round. Now you're going to have to take someone early. Orlando says, if we don't end up with the top 2 pick, is Marvin Harrison the top 5 pick and JJ McCarthy in the middle of the first round acceptable? No, so I don't like McCarthy. Everyone wants, what the funny thing is about Marvin Harrison Jr.? Because his name is Marvin Harrison Jr., everyone thinks he's going to be his dad. He looks great in college, but it doesn't mean that's going to equate to the pros and he's going to be his father. That's the only thing. It's just when people like that, like, I got to get more. And I'm not making fun of you, my friend. I'm just saying, it's just that's what everyone's kind of like. Well, you know what? We only got 48 likes. Is that it? Got 100-something people in this room. Get the likes up. Yeah, 48. Let's see. Zach says if Buffalo somehow loses to Denver, I can see Daboll wanting out sooner. If Sean McDermott gets fired, Daboll's gone. Daboll will go and beg ownership. Jeff says Daboll is safe. We're going for Drake from North Carolina. I don't have a problem with Drake May. I would take Drake May. Fabian says, yes, Tim. Yes, Tim. That's what I was saying. He needs to correct this or else he's gone. Oh yeah, I agree. Protect. Hey, what's up? Protect's number one. At this point, I would take Baker Mayfield. I'm so tired of building around losing teams. I absolutely hate losing the Cowboys, and I'm tired of them beating. You know what's funny about Baker Mayfield? I mean, what is he on like a $4 million deal or something crazy like that? And right now he's got 14 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, thrown for over 2,100 yards, completed like 65% of his passes. I would take that. I actually said we should sign Baker Mayfield. I also said he probably wouldn't fit well in New York. I think it would have been a train wreck. So the challenge from Daboll reminds of Joe. The challenge from Daboll did remind me of Joe Judge. I don't want to talk about that. Why'd you bring that up, Zach? Why'd you bring that? I didn't want to talk about that. Protects all said Eli was my guy. I became a Giant fan with Kerry Collins, and when Eli was drafted, I told my stepdad Eli's going to win a Super Bowl. My stepdad laughed at me, and this day that Eli won too. You're right. Frank says Eli still has a 500 quarterback and led the league in several interceptions several times. Eli Manning. Here's the thing about this is the thing about the quarterback. Besides the head coach, is the only one that has a win-loss record. But last time I checked, there's still another 10 guys on offense and another 11 guys on defense. And a lot of, especially towards the latter half of Eli Manning's career, wasn't his fault. So I never subscribed to the theory of that. And honestly, if you take a look at Eli Manning's interception total, he's in some pretty good company. And he's not as high up on the list as some people think he is. Because he had 200. Eli Manning had 539. What did he have? What did Eli Manning have? I forgot what Eli Manning had. Eli Manning had 366 touchdowns, 244 interceptions. He threw for 50. He threw for over 50,000 yards, 57,000 yards. Yeah, he still won 117 games. But at the end of the day, when you looked at where he ranked and the amount of times he's thrown the ball and passing ratings and everything else, you got to look at it with a grain of salt because he was a different player. And Kevin Gilbride did not do him any favors by making him a gunslinger those first 3 years. That's just me. He was doing his job. Baker Mayfield has played for like 11 head coaches. Yeah, you're right. He has. Baker Mayfield really has. Everyone talks about that. About the other. Well, Mr. Roberts says, what quarterback will be throwing to Marvin Harrison Jr. if DJ freaking Jones is starting, except to see Marvin get one target a game like Hyatt? You got to laugh. Not really. I guess not. I guess you don't have to laugh. But the Giants the last 5 years have been where wide receivers and tight ends come to die. You get smooth sounds of Kenny G, Evan Ingram, Golden Tate, Darius Slayton to some regards, Waller, Paris Campbell, Sterling Shepard, who's wrecked his career because of injuries as well. You kind of come, you kind of come here to die. And there needs to be a reason. Stanley says, hey, Tim, I see the Giants fan base wants Daboll and Shane to be fired, but that's not the answer because firing a coach every year ain't going to build a winning Super Bowl team. Anyone that thinks that these guys should be fired should just shut up. Said it before. You should just drink a big tall glass, shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about. You can't keep just recycling coaches. And just because you're having a bad year and things are looking terrible, you can't just keep changing. You just can't keep changing things. You just can't. You are trying to build a winner. You're trying to build continuity. You're trying to do these things, and you can't keep doing this if you keep getting rid of the same guys over and over again. You know what they need to do? They need to go run a lap. What's up? Cutthroat? Thank you for the super chat. In 2010, the first time he led the league in INTs, it wasn't his fault. Half those came from tip balls. It's funny that you bring that up. Eli Manning, Daniel Jones was the anti-Eli Manning in regards to the fact that he barely ever got a tipped ball intercepted till recently. Eli Manning was one of these guys, which was funny because, watching him all his entire career, if he got a ball batted up, it was automatically an interception. It was automatically an interception. You knew it was going to be an interception. That's just kind of luck that he had. And then I love it because I always harken back to that Thursday night game in Chicago where he threw 3 first quarter interceptions, and all of them were to Ruben Randall's side. And all 3 times, Ruben Randall ran the wrong route. So, I mean, Eli just had that bad luck. You're 100% right. You nailed that one. Tim, you forget about Kerry Collins. He was before Eli and after Phil Simms. I also forgot about Kent Graham. I also forgot about Danny Cannell. But I never forget about Kerry Collins. Kerry Collins, I kind of forget about Kerry Collins because I was at that 2000 Super Bowl in Tampa. So I'm trying to forget that. Technically, it was 2021. Let's see here. Eli had a lot of interceptions because he was willing to take the risk at the end of the game that most quarterbacks wouldn't. He tried to win games instead of protecting his stats. I like it. What does Ask Me say? Maybe modern athletes can't handle the pressure and perks that comes with playing in the NFL or New York. Maybe it's a possibility. We've seen a generation of that's a little bit, a little bit soft. Luke says, the Giants remind me of the immortal words of Yogi Berra. It's deja vu all over again. You got to love Yogi Berra. I love Yogi. I used to think his name, when I was a kid, I never seen him play. I'm not that old, but I used to think his name was Yogi Berra. Marvin says, in your opinion, has Joe Shane done a good job based on the last 2 seasons, draft, free agent, signing, the trade? No, I don't. He talked about the fact that how can you screw up having 2 top 10 picks, and neither Kayvon Thibodeau or Evan Neal have lived up to expectations. Banks looks like a player. McFadden looks like a player, but then you had the likes of Beavers who was gone. You've had a number of guys who you drafted that just aren't panning out. Simmons is just Simmons. He's there. It's the same thing with Waller. Waller's gone. And I said, I also have some concerns about his cap management. When a moron with a calculator, such as myself, can accurately predict the cap these last 2 seasons, actually last 5, and the person that is in the NFL doing this job for a living cannot figure out that we were going to run out of cash by week 8 and had to trade Leonard Williams to get $9 million in operational cap space, something's very wrong here. Before the season even started, I did a video where I said, we are going to run by week 8 or 9, we are going to run out of money. And everyone always gets mad at me. Everyone else gets mad. Everyone's like, you don't know what you're talking about. You just don't get it. You don't understand. I'm like, and I always tell people this. I didn't invent math. And I can add. And you looked at the contracts, you looked at the bonuses, you looked at the structures, you looked at the other things that he did. You could see we were going to run out of money. And then everyone's like, well, you're just so omnipotent. No. I can do math. That's one thing I do extremely well is math. I always make fun of my math skills, but I will tell you this, and the big Dahmer over in the UK will always tell you this. Tim always makes fun of himself about math, but he does math extremely well. And that's one thing I do. Analytical things such as that, I do extremely well. And if I can see it, but our general manager and our capologist and everyone else can't see it, is there not a problem there? Behind the Fiends with the big old super chat said, I'm an Ohio State fan and love Harrison, but a wide receiver does no good if you don't have a quarterback. Take the dang quarterback. Aloha from Hawaii. Aloha. How's everything in Hawaii? Everything good? Hopefully you stayed away from, hopefully you weren't near those fires, and hopefully if you were, that everyone is safe and sound in your family. Never been to Hawaii. Actually, that's not true. I did a layover in Hawaii. On my way to Australia. which was funny because that was in 1986 with my father when I was still in school. And we actually it was 87 because we went to the Super Bowl in Pasadena that year for the Giants Super Bowl. So we laid over in Hawaii. I think it was like a 12-hour layover in Hawaii while they refueled the plane. But you're right. If someone doesn't throw you the ball, it makes it a little harder to go. Frankie says, how many guys have a 1-year contract or gone after the season? Here's the problem. We have 36 contracts right now. And we have, if you think about it, we have 36 contracts right now. We have like $46 million in cap space right now. And you don't have a lot of wiggle room with these contracts. And I don't want to get into it all because, you know, a lot of people find the cap a little bit boring. But right now we have about, my chart, we have about 39.2 million. Now that's also the fact if the cap doesn't go up. We also have $11 million in dead cap space numbers. So right now we have 36 players under contract with about $39 million in cap space. The problem is this: you're not getting out of Daniel Jones's contract. You got a $69 million dead cap number. You then take on board the contracts of Andrew Thomas and Dexter Lawrence and Waller as well. Waller still has a $7 million dead cap number next year with a $14 million cap hit. If you take a look at the fact that you have tied up right now in your cap space, almost 40% of it tied up between Jones, Thomas, Lawrence, and Waller. And we're not even looking at a Karake, who's also owed $11 million with a dead $17 million cap number. You also have the maturing contract of Kayvon Thibodeau as well. So you got an $18 million dead cap number with an $8 million cap hit. And then you kind of just go down the list. There's not a lot of room on this cap next year to find like hidden money. There's really not a lot of renegotiating that's going to be going on this year. You know, you're going to probably move on someone like A'Shawn Robinson, but A'Shawn Robinson next year has got it's got a $2 million dead cap number no matter what. You also have the $5 million dead cap number for Leonard Williams. So there's not a lot of wiggle room in this cap next year. There's not a lot of contracts you can look at and change unless you restructure the deal of Daniel Jones. But the only ways you're going to do that is if you extend it out. And if you do that, I'm going to lose my damn mind. Oh, Mr. Alvarez, I saw this. Where is the one with Mr. Alvarez with the $10 million in cap space? I love it. Joe Shane, I want to have at least $10 million in operational cap space, but overpay everyone to have like a $2 million in cap space. I would like credit. I want credit for something. I'm the one that coins operational cap space. Anyone that watches this channel for the last 4 years, I have always talked about having operational cap space during the season. Now I hear Joe Shane was using it, beginning of this year. I'm like, you motherfucker, you stole that from me. Give me some credit. What's up with the big old super chat from the Behind the Fiends? Not saying it'll happen, but if Daboll wants out, then don't release him. You trade him to a team looking for a coach and get draft compensation. Here's the thing, and I talked about this. If you move on from Brian Daboll, you do not fire Brian Daboll. If Brian Daboll wants out, you do not get rid of him. You do exactly that. And I said this, you trade Brian Daboll to Buffalo. Even if it's for a second rounder or a third rounder or something. Normally you get like a first rounder for a head coach, but it wouldn't be the first time. Look at Tampa and the Raiders. You basically trade the coach. And I wouldn't get rid of Daboll, especially if everything implodes. But you trade him. You get something. You get compensation. You're 100% right. You're 1,000% right. You are 1,000% right. You get something for him. What does the pimp named Slickback say? Tim Patliner apparently reported that Joe Shane will send scouts to Drake May and Caleb Williams back in August. So they were really confident in Jones. You always need to hedge your bet. The NFL is like life. You always need to hedge your bet. And the problem is with Daniel Jones, even though you gave him the money, and I don't agree with giving him the money because it really screwed up everything this year. It really did. And again, I was called a moron. Because of the fact that I said, everyone's like, this is such a great deal. I'm like, no, it's not. I said, because the next thing you are going to do is tag Saquon Barkley, and you're going to be having that guaranteed $10 million hanging over your head, along with the Jones contract and everything else you just did. And how many times did we talk about it on this channel, guys? How many times do we talk about this in the chat together? Saquon Barkley is the offense. We last year during the 9-win season, I can't remember. I think it was we went through it and we determined there was 5 games the Giants did not win that year without Saquon Barkley. And there was maybe 2 games that the Giants wouldn't have won without Daniel Jones. And you paid the guy who was really not the one that is pushing forward. When Tyrod Taylor came in and performed exactly, a 34-year-old journeyman Tyrod Taylor, injury prone, hadn't started a game since 2021, came in and performed the exact same way that Daniel Jones did, you know there was trouble. You knew there was going to be a problem. Because how can you give a guy $160 million and have the guy making $9 million over 2 come in and your offense doesn't miss a beat? Looks exactly the same. So you could say I could have brought in Baker Mayfield for $4 million and had the same results. Daboll could get out of the Giants and find a head coaching spot somewhere else immediately, given how the season played out. We were just talking about AP. He could, if Buffalo, let's say Buffalo loses tonight and misses the playoff and implodes in the playoffs and they fire Sean McDermott, first thing I do with Joe Shane is I pick up the phone and I call Buffalo. I'd be like, hey, would you like your head coach back? Because that's where he wanted to go to LA. LA was his first choice. We weren't even his first choice. He wanted to go to the Chargers and be with the Duck because he understands you want to be with a franchise quarterback. I will still, to this day, say that they pushed Daniel Jones onto Brian Daboll. And it was funny because I showed videos, and I love it because he gushingly, he talks about Josh Allen like he's this demigod and all these things and how he makes you better and how he makes you a better playmaker and how he just makes you a better coach. And then he gets to Daniel Jones and goes, Daniel Jones is our quarterback. Where he wants to be. He wants to shuffle on back to Buffalo. Danny Dunn says $40 million a year for a backup at best. That has to be the worst contract for a quarterback ever. Worse than Osweiler and Garoppolo. It could turn out this way. Because like I said, you draft a quarterback next year, you're going to push out being competitive again to 2026. Sorry. Because right now your building blocks for the last 2 drafts are not panning out except outside of Banks. That could all change. These guys could turn the corner, but you got to remember this. Kayvon and Evan Neal will be going into year 3 next year. And unless you're going to move Evan Neal to guard, and Kayvon somehow miraculously finds some type of life that carries him into the existence of every single game for 17 weeks. It's hard.
That's what she said.
Who would you draft, a quarterback, study, or sit behind Daniel Jones with a prime pick that is expected? Like I said, I want Williams. I know a lot of people are down on Williams because of the crawling and everything else, but and the interceptions and the fumbles and blah 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 blah. These are all things that can be fixed. At the end of the day, he could potentially be a generational talent. But like I said, if we can't get Williams, I'm fine with Drake May. I'm fine with Penix. Keep doing a little bit more work on Jalen Daniels. Hell, I might be fine with Jalen Daniels. I don't like McCarthy. But there are guys you can get. Brock Purdy, last pick of the draft. Quarterbacking a potential Super Bowl team. What does the boss say? If he's doing this bad of a job, then why should we keep Joe? Because you can't keep getting rid of guys. And drafting guys is a crapshoot. You can have the best scouts in the world. People forget this. The majority of the people in the NFL at one point in time wanted to take Ryan Leaf over Peyton Manning because they thought he would be a better prospect. Bill Parcells at one point in time said he would take Ryan Leaf. Frankie says, extend Daboll 2 more years and give him and Shane time to rebuild. I think they're fine. I don't think they're going anywhere. Let's see. Frankie says, do you extend Barkley with a total rebuild that could... No, here's the thing. If you're going to go with a rookie quarterback, you have to bring Barkley back because you need something. You need something to keep him going. You have to bring him back if he wants to come back. Honestly, if he wants to come back. And that's the big question people keep asking. AP says, Tim, who are you taking if Williams, Drake, and Marvin Harrison are all gone? Trading down and taking a quarterback still. They're yeah. That's what I think that's what I think I would do. I'm trying to think here. I'm trying to pull up my list here. Let's see here. Let me think. Let me look at my list real quick here. I did a little list. Checking it twice. Gonna find out who's naughty and nice. I wouldn't take McCarthy, and Sanders isn't coming out. I also like the but you can get him later in the draft. I like the kid out of Texas too. I can't find my chart. I don't know where it went. Fabi says, no, Tim. If you have two quarterbacks performing the same, it's a semester. Yeah, it's a systematic problem. You're right. A pimp named Slickback says, what bothers me, what always bothered me was the justification is, we won a playoff game. Who cares? We have 4 titles. We aren't the Browns. Winning 1 playoff game isn't that big of a deal. Michael says, it's time to talk about our new franchise quarterback, Tim. We're all going to talk about him. Let's give him something to talk about. Should have picked up Malik Willis we should have picked up Malik Willis in 22. Like I said, if we could have gotten Malik, I said it before, and everyone, I always love it because people always misquote me, and it's funny because I always post the videos. I said we should have went, what's his name? The Lloyd, the linebacker, and Kayvon Thibodeau as our draft choices. And I said I wouldn't take Malik Willis in the first round because he's going to have to sit an entire year. But I said, but if he was in later in the draft, I would definitely grab him. But he's a guy that was going to need time, and he was a guy that was going to need to. I said it before. He's a guy's going to have to sit an entire year, so he wouldn't have fit into Shane and Daboll's plans, in reference to what the Giants were doing with Daniel Jones. But if they would have got him, I thought if they would have got him in the third round, it would have been a good pick. No, not the kid from what's the kid from Quinn something. I can't think of his name. I know his first name's Quinn. Because I always think of the Mighty Quinn. You ain't seen nothing like the Mighty Quinn. But I can't think of his name. I can't think of it. Yeah, there we go. Thank you, AP. I knew someone would get it. Let's sit a rookie behind a free agent in Jones for the second half of next year. I agree. Fabian says, what worries me about Caleb is he needs an elite system surrounding him to win. I don't think that's true. I think his talent is enough to allow him to. Let's get up to 80 likes. Can we get up to 80? Bueller. How are the Knicks doing? Anyone know how the Knicks are doing? They're playing the Celtics right now. How are the Knicks doing? Let's go and see how the Knicks are doing, because I am curious about that. We got kickoff at 8:15 as well, so I kind of want to see the game. Oh, the Knicks right now are leading the Boston Celtics 15-14 over here in the first quarter. We got Jalen Brunson, who just hit a 16-foot running pull-up jump shot. Jaws a bit outside, tried the corner and missed. That's not true. Oh, I really did just hit a jump shot. I just watched it. Let's see. Rudy. It's great that the Cowboys play all their seniors. Giants 34, man. What's up? I haven't seen you in a while. Giants 34. Would you trade your second and third pick to the Lions for a rookie quarterback and then draft Harrison Jr., offensive lineman? And so you want to trade the second or third pick to the Giants for Hendon Hooker? I loved Hendon Hooker, even with the injury, even with the age. I would have taken Hendon Hooker. I would trade a fourth or a fifth for Hendon Hooker. I wouldn't trade a second or a third. But I would trade like a fourth or a fifth. Davey says Tim is watching the New York Giants football. Gonna be like doing your homework. I don't want to do homework. I don't have to do homework anymore. Knock knock. Who's there? Not me, because I'm not doing homework. Oh, I love this. Robbie, this one that just cracked me up. It's great that the Cowboys played all their seniors. They even let Cooper Rush continue to throw the ball down the field. It's like, and then you keep lambing so he can get the record. I mean, seriously? Oh, what does Robbie says? How are we going to lay off those pitches this close? How are they laying off the pitches this close? That, of course, is from the venerable Major League. Oh my God! I was watching Bull Durham the other day. That was pretty funny. Like he walked 18. Yeah, also struck out 18. And the other one, favorite line, hit the bull. I'm finally throwing it where I want to throw it now. And just trust me, hit the bull. What is Jalen Daniels is a better passer than Lamar Jackson in college? This is Zach. Yeah, actually, you're probably right. AP says Hyatt will be jumping up and down if we got him. I agree. Pimp name Slickback says go New York, go New York, go. See you, man. Off to watch Knickerbockers. You have yourself a good night, Pimp name Slickback. Frankie says yes. And let's see here. MK5 says, who do you think fits the Giants better, May or Williams? I will answer it this way. I will answer you a riddle with a riddle, Batman. Yes, Nuke LaLoosh. Ebby Calvin LaLoosh. Williams fits any team. So I think that answers the question right there, MK5. Williams fits any team. I think May will fit better in a system, but Williams fits literally any team. I love it. Do you think I need a nickname? You think a nickname? He goes, what was that nickname he gave me? Oh, was it Pookie? Zach says Kafka didn't even help DeVito out at all. His play calling was Freddie Kitchens-esque. Yeah, I mean we talked about it earlier in the broadcast, Zach. Kafka did DeVito no favors. Short passing game, lull the defense in a little bit, take advantage of their over aggressiveness, and kind of work that way. But instead, you kind of ran a game plan I just didn't understand. But like I said, it's not for me to understand. That's right. That's right, Frankie. It's meat. Why does he keep calling me meat? I'm the one with the Porsche. What does he know about fun? He's an old man. He doesn't know about fun. I'm young. I know about fun. Big Dog says if we had a first or second round pick secured, take our quarterback, then find a way to trade back in the first half of the round. I do like that idea. I said that before. I do like the idea of trading back into the draft if we take our quarterback and maybe pick it up an offensive lineman or wide receiver. I do think that's an idea. Matt says, I think Caleb sees more adversity compared to prior years will be a good thing. If he has a chance to get him, be happy with any of the big three. I'm happy with any of the three quarterbacks, to be honest. But like I said, if you sat there and said, Tim, you have to pick one. If you told me this, all three are available, you have to pick one. I got to take Williams every time. Because like I said, I think Williams, while there is some flaws, there's some warts, I think at the end of the day, he could be a better prospect. And he could be a generational player. Juan likes Caleb. See, Juan knows. Bill Behind the Fiend says, looking at it, we had Mike White right there with the Jets as a free agent. How did we not pick him up? I don't know how. Because of the fact that we didn't until the Leonard Williams deal, we didn't have money to go out and get a Matt Barkley. Think about that. They say that Shane gave Leonard Williams the ability to veto the trade. But if he vetoed the trade, we couldn't sign anyone else. Unless you restructured a contract or two, which would have had to have been Leonard Williams and Adoree Jackson. Think about that for a minute. That's where we were at. That we couldn't even sign Matt Barkley until we traded Leonard Williams. We basically, in some regards, traded, or I should say, got Matt Barkley for Leonard Williams. Listen, the picks are great, but everyone also needs to remember we're still paying his salary. One of the benefits of the deal was they took the cap, some of the cap hit, but we paid the majority of the salary. So we bought those draft picks. People forget that. I have a Blaupunk quadraphonic. He has a quadraphonic Blaupunk. Let's see here. I think Drake May would be the perfect fit for the Giants. He's very Josh Allen-esque, Justin Herbert-esque type of player. Great arm, super accurate, quick passes, great playmaker. Billy has the legs. Like I said, I'm not down on Drake May. I am not down on Drake May whatsoever. The Giants got Drake May. I am just as happy. Let's see here. Just have to say, I love your commentary. Thank you, Robbie. I really like the fact that that we are around the same age, so your references ring true with me. Well, thank you, Robbie. I appreciate that. Yes, Giants called me 3 years ago and said we need an old guy to do Giant YouTube. So that's when I jumped in on the mic and did this. Just kidding. Let's see here. Brian Daboll would be the perfect coach to develop any quarterback from the draft. He did it with Tua, Hurts, Allen. He could do it with a new quarterback as well. Hell, he made Danny look good. He didn't make Daniel Jones look good last year. That's the only problem. He made Daniel Jones look average. And if you look at it statistically, Daniel Jones was below average in every stat. He threw for 3,000 yards. I think the average, because you take the 32 quarterbacks, I think the average passing yards was like 3,800. Daniel Jones threw for 3,000. The average touchdowns was like 24. He had 15. So, I mean, I don't know. Don't forget Bullock. That is why no one went to the IR. Couldn't afford to bring anyone back up. You're right. You're right. Will they get a true wide receiver for Williams, for Caleb? Yes. I'm going to give you a name. I want everyone to think of a name of a wide receiver that is probably going to be available next year. And I want you to think about it for a second, because he's going to be available next year if you want to go out and get him. And if you especially have a rookie quarterback and bring back Saquon Barkley. There's a guy in Tampa. Yeah, he's at the tail end of his career, but it's not going to be like bringing a Tim Brown in from Las Vegas when he got released and went over to Tampa. He's still got some juice left in him. And if you're looking for a bit, there you go. Zach Attack with Mike Evans. Robbie says, take care, everyone. God bless. See you soon. Thank you, Robbie. We're going to be leaving here in a few minutes, in about 2 minutes anyways, because the game is going to be on. And I actually have to finish cutting the Mint Mobile video. Mint Mobile, try mintmobile.com/Big Blue. Pay for 3 months. Get 3 months for free. Fastest 5G out there. Look at that. That was 5G, baby. People are going to hate it because I got other partners, or I got other sponsors coming up. I'm the ultimate shill. Let's say, hey Tim, what are your thoughts on Ward out of Washington State? I think he's another good prospect. Don't know a lot about him, to be honest. I'm gonna have to do a little Stanley. I'd say thank you. I'm gonna actually do a little bit of research on that. Bruce says, so our quarterback room next year potentially be the first rookie, second Tyrod Taylor, third Jones. I would like that. I would like that a lot. Mr. Roberts says, if he has some beef with free agent Deebo Samuels, I don't think Deebo's going anywhere. Let's see here. Todd says, there's a problem with money. Who wants to come here? Yeah, it's true. Money does cure all. What is this? Attention. Tim will be live on Friday for the Thomas the Tank Engine preview versus New England Patriots. Well, Zach Attack is the unofficial producer of the Online Big Blue Show. Oh, actually, no, we promoted him to the official producer of the Online Big Blue Show. Joey G, what's up, man? Have we peaked with Gettleman guys this time to get our own guys? Yeah, we're going to have to. We have peaked. I was thinking about that in Was It Rocky? the movie Rocky Balboa. What? When he wants to go fight, and Paulie looks at him and goes, "What? You haven't peaked yet?" Good night, Chris. Good night, Tim. Good night, everyone. Good night, chat. Got a jet. Zack Attack says the Giants should re-sign Tyrod Taylor to a 1-year deal. I agree. I think they should. All right, guys. It's 8:00. We didn't hit the 80 likes. I'm so disappointed. We had 170 something people at one point in this chat, and we didn't even hit 80 likes. I am not doing another video until tomorrow because of that. What's up, Irish? We'll give Irish over. We got Irish in here. We'll get these last ones, a couple ones here. Irish over, if we can get a top 2 quarterback, what do you think Shane will use for the $36 million? Hopefully he's going to use it for wide receiver and also use it for some offensive line help. Good night, everyone. Regardless of the quarterback pick, the Giants should go offense heavy in the draft. Need to get better wide receivers. Actually, we still need a corner, a safety, and some linebackers too. But I understand what you're saying is just picturing Caleb Williams throwing a deep ball to Hyatt. My mouth starts to water. We are going to end it on that one. Hit the 80 like streams where Zack Attack says hit 80 likes for a stream on Friday at 6:43 p.m. This is Tim. This is New York Giants Straight Talk, powered by Online Big Blue LLC. I hope everyone had a good time. Had a great night hanging out with everyone. We will see you soon. Check out that new video on Wednesday, guys. And you know what? I'm out of here.